Namaste, Vanakkam. My name is Sushila Patel. I am a Gujarati by origin and I welcome you to today's show. As Deepavali is arriving very soon, I would like to share some of my dishes that we would be having it during Deepavali. And many friends, many Indians too would enjoy these dishes. The 5 dishes that I'm going to make today, it will be Idli, Sambar, coconut chutney, Kesari, and not to forget the South Indian coffee. So let's start off with making idlis, right? So this is a steamed one. So we're going to have parboiled rice over here. We have some cooked rice, and we have the urad dhal. And we're going to add the fenugreek seed with salt. So let's start off by adding into our mixing bowl here the parboiled rice. It is drained and washed and drained, so I'm just going to add the whole thing in. Right, then we're going to add some 100 grams of water to mill it. Right, and we're going to close it with a lid, and we're going to use 1 minute and speed 10. There we go, our rice has been milled, and now we shall add the lentils, the soaked lentils again. This is the urad dal. We're going to add that in, okay, and we're going to add our fenugreek seeds that has been soaked overnight, and then we will have the cooked rice that is added to keep the idli soft. Do you know that the idli batter can also be used to make uttapams? So here we have some salt, a teaspoon of salt that I'm adding in, and we are going to blend it again at 1 minute and speed 10. So we go there. And we are going to go to speed 10. So in 2 minutes, we got our idli batter been milled to a nice, lovely constituent, and let me show it to you how it looks like. Okay, so here we are. The batter looks like that, right? And what we can do is that we just scrape it down and let it ferment for another 8 hours or so. So, you know, I like to take care that we do not waste much of food anywhere, and I'm really an advocate of eating natural food, and idli is one of the most safest way of eating because it is a fermented dish, so it takes care of your gut. Now what I'm going to do is the balanced 100 grams of water that I have, I'm just going to pour it in and collect the residue of the batter, and we are just going to use 6-6. This is what I tell all my friends who own the Thermomix. Right, so all the residues that is stuck around the blades, etc. will be out. It will be taken out. Okay, so what you get is then you scrape out all the batter that we have, and and the residue that is there, you just rinse it out and mix it up well and cover it and keep it in a warm area for depends on the temperature of your home. So in Singapore and etc. In Singapore and Malaysia generally, I think by 6 hours our idli batter is mostly been done. So this is how the idli batter looks like, consistency. And it will rise, so please put it in a deeper bowl and let it rise, okay? It will have a little bit of tartness by the time it's fermented, and this is very good for our gut. Right, so this is done. And let me show you how the idli batter looks when it is fermented. And this is the ready one we've just done, and this is the fermented version. So the fermented version is a little bit tart and it is as runny as this. So you can put it in your idli molds, which I'm going to show it to you later. Right, so I've washed our mixing bowl already, and I'm going to place it back into the home. We're going to do a 3 tiers of cooking. So since I have got my batter ready, been fermented for the idli, we're going to make sambar. So I've assembled all the things that we need to do for our sambar. Sambar is whereby I've soaked the pigeon pea here. This is soaked about 3 to 4 hours and let it puff up a little bit. So we're going to add the pigeon pea into our mixing bowl. And I'm going to add about 500 grams of water to it. Right, so about 500 grams of water. The next stage of it is that we have the simmering basket. We already put the pigeon pea in it there. That is called the dhal. And then we're going to add in all our vegetables. So I've got potato, radish, carrots, and and the drumstick that has been cut. So now I'm going to add that in. So that is the second tier. And the third tier, I'm going to cover this up now. And the third tier will be our varoma. Now this is where we add the idli batter that has been fermented. So I've already added 4 of it earlier, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to add it. So here we go. You just put a ladle full of it, with ladle and a half. Don't overflow it, okay? And this mold is an idli mold. It's a stainless steel. It's available in any of the Indian grocery shops that you have. And actually, with this batter, we can do almost about 16 idlis. Right, so we're going to layer it in such a way that it doesn't touch anyone. So there we go, and we fold that and we place it here on the top, and then we cover it. Right, and we're going to steam it. For 15 minutes at varoma speed 1. Right, so we're going to let this cook right now. Right, so now we're going to do the coconut chutney to go along with our steamed idlis. Now this is a fresh grated coconut we have, about 250 grams. I'm going to add in some coriander and lots of curry leaves that I've washed. You know that curry leaves is antioxidant, it's very good for our health. And then I have de-seeded some of the green chilies. We're going to put some shallots, ginger, and some salt. That's all we need for coconut chutney. So let's start off by adding the ingredients into our mixing bowl. So first of all, I'm going to put in our onions, some green chilies. Okay, so we have the shallots. All this recipe is been given, the measurements, etc. will be given to you later, and we're going to do that. Now we're going to add, we're going to close, and we're going to chop this fine. Okay, so we can do it at speed 3, and we go it at right, it is as fast as that. So we had 3 seconds, speed 7, whereby we chopped it as finely as possible. As you can see it, it is really chopped finely. So we just scrape it down now. Oh, look at the fragrance. Oh my goodness me. And the next portion of it is I'm going to just put in my coriander leaves like that. Okay, and the whole bunch of curry leaves that goes in and gives a lovely green colored chutney. So, and we're going to put this entire 250 grams of it. Now a little bit of tip, if you have extra coconut chutney leftovers, you can always freeze it. Wow, the fragrance of it. And we're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt to it. And water, about 125 ml. So I'm going to just add everything in here. And we're going to blend it to a fine paste. So again, it's a milling function more or less. So we're going to do it about 1 minute. We're going to go at speed 10. Right, so it's within a minute we got our chutney been made. So here we have, look at that. Whoa, okay, so this is the texture that I'm looking at. But I know many of you like to have the restaurant style of chutney where it's a little bit runny. So do add to your family's need of how you want your chutney to be. So here we go. And let me take that out. And you get to see, scrape it down and bring it out. We can do the tempering by heating up some oil in here and use the urad dhal and dried chilies to give on the top the tempering if you want to. But you can also do without the tempering and just have the chutney as it is. So here we have the coconut chutney made. In the meantime, I've also prepared to do Kesari, that is the South Indian dish for normally eaten during festivities. It's also known in the north as halwa, semolina halwa, and I'm going to do it with saffron flavor because we want to have a little bit more color into our food, and saffron is a lovely bright orangish yellowish color. So wow, okay, let me look at my machine here, and oh, there we go. Let's open that. Okay, so that's the steamed idlis we have that has been made, and we were going to let it sit for a while to steam it, and then we're going to take that out. And I'm going to use the spatula to show you just how well, okay, let me bring this right in the front to you to show it to you that the vegetables are well done. And we have the dal that has been cooked in it. And so I'll come back to you with this. While the sambar was getting, the dal was getting cooked with the vegetables, I was also assembling our halwa, the kesari. So I've got all the ingredients for the kesari from this Thermomix now, and I also brought the other ingredients, and since the dal has been done, we're going to do a stir fry of it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the dal has already been boiled. I'm going to just transfer it to a bowl, and then I'm going to fry everything together. Right, so I'm going to bring the dal out. There it goes. And you don't need to rinse the bowl at all. Within itself, you can do it. Okay, so you can either do it with fry it in ghee, or you can fry it in oil. Let me put this idlis aside. It's already steamed, so I'm going to let it cool down, and then after that I'm going to show it to you how to do it. We need to chop our onions and garlic and a little bit of curry leaves if you want to, but I'm just going to put a little bit of onions first without the garlic. Right, and that's about 33 grams. So I'm going to close that. 3 seconds. Just 3 seconds, that's all we need. At speed 7. So there it goes. So it's been chopped. And the next one we're going to do is we're going to add some oil. Okay, 13 grams of oil. And I'm going to now add all the Indian spices. So I'm going to just add the mustard seed powder, a teaspoon of it. I'm going to add my asafoetida, just a pinch of it, and I'm going to add my curry leaves to it, and a few dried chilies that we have. I'm going to add that to it, and I'm going to saute it. So what we're going to do is scrape down the onions all down, and we are going to saute it for 3 minutes at 120. Sauteing is always done at 120, and we're going to go to spoon mode. And that calls me out that I'm ready. It's been ready sauteed. You can see it's been sauteed. Now the next stage I'm going to do is I'm going to put my curry powder. So we're going to put the curry powder in it at the sides. Okay, and I'm going to put a little bit of turmeric powder. It goes there. And we have the tamarind juice that I've taken out, a lemon size of tamarind that you put a little bit of water and you get the juice out of the tamarind. We're going to add the salt to it at the sideways, and we're going to pour our dal in and let it saute it together and let it go. Okay, so this is how it's going to be cooked. And here we go. And I'm going to boil it for 10 minutes. Then only I'm going to add my vegetables in it. So I'm going to do it at Varoma. I'm going to steam cook it, and I'm going to go at 1. So I'm going to let it cook really well. And while it's doing at that, we're going to do our suji halwa. So let's move on to our suji halwa. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to saute. For suji halwa or kesari, we need cashew nuts, we'll need raisins, a little bit of elaichi powder, that is cardamom powder. And this is saffron. I don't use color, so this is a natural one. Place about 1 tablespoon of hot boiling water into a few strands of saffrons, and then let it cool down, and then you press it hard, okay, with a spoon, and just rub it so that you get the color running out of it. Then we have the roasted semolina, and we have sugar, and we have ghee. Now this ghee is homemade ghee. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some homemade ghee in here, and I'm just going to put about 10 grams or 11 grams of it. So there you go. And then I'm going to put in, I'm going to heat this up. When we are doing any of the halwas or any of the Indian dishes, we need to heat up the ghee first. Okay, so I'm going to heat it up for 2 minutes, and I'm going to do it at 120 degrees as though we are sauteing it at spoon. So once that is getting heated up, we will get our cashew nuts that I have cut into half, so that when it's lays in a tray, okay, it'll be more flat and easy to cut. Now this is the tray, the stainless steel tray where I'm going to lay the semolina dish in here, so then I can cut into pieces. Just glaze it with a little bit or grease it with a little bit of ghee around it so that it is well grazed. A cardamom powder, you can buy lots of cardamom and just take out the seeds and grind it. This is actually very good for your tummy. If you have got health issues, your stomach is not healthy, put a pinch of it in your tea or coffee or milk and just have it. So here we go. It's done. So all I'm doing is it's already been heated up. So I'm just putting the cashew and the raisins in it. And I'm going to saute it just like the traditional way of everyone who is doing it. We're going to saute it again. So I'm going to saute it for 3 minutes at 120 degrees again. And we're going to spoon mode. So we're going to gently saute it, and you don't need a ladle, you know. In the traditional way, you have to stand on the stove and make sure that your cashew nuts or your raisins, you know, doesn't get burned. While I'm here, you know, watching it through the hole of the lid, and it is getting sauteed while I'm looking at my dal that is when getting cooked. So I'm going to watch that. I'm going to open that, and ooh, look at that. Yeah, you can see all the vegetables now to it. And then we will do the reverse mode. Okay, the reverse mode, and just continue cooking it at 4 minutes, and our sambar will be done. So while this is getting done, look at that. Okay, And I'm going to just take that out shortly. How to look whether your cashew nuts or your raisins are done. Here's the tip. If you look at that, you'll see that the raisins is really puffed up a little bit. Okay, and the cashew nuts have gone a little bit red. Now I don't like overdone ones, so it is just nice and perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take it out. I'm going to let the ghee remain in it. Right, so that is done. Right, and I'm going to add more ghee, the balance of the ghee that is there. I'm going to add that one here, more to it. I've already weighed it earlier, so part of it was in here. And I've put my semolina in here right now. We're going to roast our semolina. So first of all, I'm going to just mix my semolina. And we're going to close it. Okay, 20 seconds. And we're going to mix it at speed 2. So the semolina and the ghee is been mixed together, and then we're going to roast it for 5 minutes of 120 degrees. And then we're going to add all this, and we'll need about, say, 250 grams of water later on. So there you go. See, it's well mixed as I'm showing you. And the next stage for us is to scrape it down, and we're going to roast it again at 120 and on spoon mode. And our sambar is done. And let me show you how the sambar looks. Woof! There we go. Look at the color, and the dal is done. And now that we have just done that, we'll add the tomatoes at the end. I don't like it to be overcooked, so I just leave the tomatoes in there and let it just cook. So we're going to put the sambar in the thermal server. Thank you. Okay, so here you have the most beautiful, colorful sambar that's been done. Look at that. Whoa. I'm going to get this washed again, so that after that we will be able to make another dish. And I'm going to cover this with it, so it will keep this warm. Right, and okay, so there it is, my machine calling me. So it's well roasted now. Right, so now the next part of it I'm going to do is bring out the roasted semolina out onto a bowl. And I'm going to take this, and it is well roasted. If you can see, it's lightly on the reddish tinge, and you get a beautiful flavor. When semolina is roasted, you'll get that, you know, the roasting fragrance that is out. And I'm going to bring it to a boil. So again, we have about 250 grams of water that I've already weighed. I'm going to put it in here. And 5 minutes at 120 you can do, or you can go on kettle mode. Right, so our water is really hot, boiling hot right now, and this is the time where we need to put in our saffron water in it, so that it will bring out the color. Okay. And then I'm going to put in my semolina in it, and we are going to let it cook at aroma 5 minutes exactly. Okay, and I'm going to go at speed 2. So at halfway point, so that's when we're going to add our sugar. Okay, so we can add our sugar and our cardamoms together. Right, so there you go. And this is the fun part of it. You can get your children to do it too, you know. Just as it goes to 1, Then we add in our cashew nuts and raisins. I'm going to add this right now. There it goes. And this is well glazed with ghee. Right, it's cooling now. And we are done. There you go. Look at the color that has come out, right? So then we will assemble it in a plate, but you can also mold it in a ramekin dish if you want to, and just let it settle in, cool it down before we cut them into pieces. Okay, I'll put that back. And while it is still hot, all you have to do is just let it settle that way. And then let it cool down. Then you can cut into small squares. So here we are. This is done. And it's set. So we let it cool down and then we will cut and let's then serve to everyone. So we have come towards the end. We're going to make coffee, and this is how Indian coffee is made, with fresh milk and plain water. It's brewed together. So we are just going to put some water. Again, I can use my weighing scale, or it all depends on individual. Okay, so it's about 100, and then I'm going to put a little bit of milk. I don't like too milky. That's it. This is fresh milk. Again, we can go to kettle function. Okay, bring it to 95 degrees and bring it to a boil. So while that is happening, I'm going to start assembling our breakfast, a South Indian Deepavali breakfast. Let's do the plating now. Right, so we're going to use some banana leaves on it. Okay, the stainless still there, and we're going to have the coffee there, and I'm going to take out the idlis. Normally you have it in odd numbers, and this is the sambar. Right, our coffee is also done. The milk and the thing, so I'm going to pour that in here, and I'm going to put the normal instant coffee, Indian ones, that is the Indian brand. Right, so the kesari is cooled down. I've already cut into pieces so that we can assemble on our plate. And the chutney that we have, I've not sorted it, but you can do a tempering on the top, you know. And let's put the sweet dish in, right? So sweet is very important in most Indian traditions. So we have the idlis, the kesari, to bring sweetness in life. I'm going to put in the floral arrangements onto a banana leaf with rice flour, right? And then they normally tap on the floor of their, you know, the doorways in their homes. So there's always a white design or a pattern, as they call it. So I'm just going to use my hand and do it. Okay, it got a little bit of the design, not so bad, not so bad. Diya, light, festival of light, Deepavali. And let's start a year, a new year, with lots of love, happiness, positive energy, and everyone's life comes with joy. So this is a Diwali breakfast for the South Indians. So this is the traditional South Indian breakfast, Deepavali. I wish everyone a joyful, happy Diwali to the North Indians, the South Indians, and all those who celebrate or don't celebrate, along with all our other nationalities and other race. So a happy Deepavali to everyone. Enjoy the breakfast.